Level 1. The Pilgrim Soldier. You sewed the cross yourself, a scrap of red cloth cut from an old tunic, stitched onto your shoulder with thread that's already coming loose. That's all you are. That's all you have. You left your farm in Burgundy 3 months ago. You sold it for less than it was worth because you needed to leave before you lost your nerve. You are not a soldier. You are a farmer with a walking stick and a prayer. The column stretches ahead of you and behind you for as far as you can see. Thousands of people, most of them like you, nobody. Old men, women carrying infants, boys who thought this would be an adventure. Pope Urban promised absolution, full remission of all sins. The gates of heaven open. You believed him. You still believe him. It's the only thing keeping your feet moving. The knights on horseback don't look at you. When one of their animals needs water, the men around you are shoved aside without a word. You step back. You always step back. The cross on your shoulder is already fading in the rain. You sold your land to get here. There's nothing to go back to. The door closed the morning you left. Level 2. The Foot Soldier. You made it to the Holy Land. That already puts you ahead of half the people who started walking with you. Now you fight. Your weapon is a spear. Your armor is a quilted gamson stuffed with wool that stops a blade about as well as you'd expect. You are outside the walls of Antioch in the summer of 1098, and you have been digging for 3 weeks. This is what siege warfare is. Digging, hauling stones for the mangonels, filling sections of moat with rubble, moving siege towers an inch at a time across broken ground. You have not swung your spear at a living person since you arrived. When the assault finally comes, your job is to hold the line. The knights charge through you and past you. You plant your feet and you do not run. Running is punishable by death from your own officers. You hold because the alternative is worse. When the city falls, the plunder is real. You are holding a silver candlestick that belonged to someone who is no longer alive. You have never held anything worth this much. 4 men from your village died of fever in a tent before the walls came down. The candlestick didn't come with their names on it. You don't put it down. Level 3. The Sergeant at Arms. You have a horse. It is not a war horse. It is a rouncy, a working animal, sturdy and plain, worth about as much as a skilled craftsman earns in a year. But it is a horse, and that means you are no longer walking. And in this world, that is the difference between being nobody and being somebody. You lead mounted patrols along the coastal roads between Jaffa and Jerusalem. The routes pass through territory that belongs officially to the Crusader states and unofficially to whoever ambushed the last convoy through. You keep your men in formation. You scan the hillsides. You make decisions without waiting for orders, because there is often no one senior enough nearby to give them. The knights you serve were born into their rank. You earned yours, which in this hierarchy is the politer way of saying it doesn't count. At the Lord's table, you eat with the household staff, not with the knights. The seating arrangement was decided before you arrived, and it will not change. If your horse dies on campaign, you walk. And walking means you are back where you started. You check the animal's legs every morning before you check your own. Level 4. The Brother Sergeant. You took the vows at dawn in a chapel that smelled of candle smoke and cold stone. Poverty, chastity, obedience. The last one is the one that matters here. You knelt before the master and you gave him everything. Your name is still yours. Everything else belongs to the order now. You wear a black mantle with a red cross. The Knight Brothers wear white. The difference is birth, and the order makes no pretense about it. The cross is the same. The color is not. Your post is a castle in the hills above Tiberias. You stand night watch in winter. The wind comes off the Syrian desert like something with intention. You do not move. You do not complain. The vow covers this too. The order escorts pilgrims from the port at Jaffa to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This is why the Templars exist. You ride with the columns, armed and alert, through country where a pilgrim traveling alone would not survive the morning. The pilgrims look at your mantle and relax. That is the entire mechanism. You are the reason they can make the journey at all. What you gave up was choice. What you received was certainty. At the age when most men are still deciding who to be, you already know. Some nights that feels like freedom. Most nights it feels like the walls. Level 5. The Knight. The destrier knows before you do that the signal is coming. The animal shifts under you. You feel it through your knees. Around you, a line of mounted men in full mail, lances leveled, the sound of breathing and leather and iron. Then the horn. The charge is over in 30 seconds. That is not an exaggeration. A line of heavy cavalry at full gallop hits an enemy formation, and it is decided in less time than it takes to describe. Your lance shatters on impact. You draw your sword. Then it is quiet, and you are through, and you are looking for threats that are no longer there. Back at your fief outside Caesarea, you administer a village you were granted for your service. You collect rents. You maintain your equipment. You owe your lord 40 days of military service per year, funded from those rents, and you will be ready when the levy is called. This is the compact. Land in exchange for knights. You hold your end. The chronicles will write down the names of the great lords. Men like you appear as numbers. 300 knights engaged on the left flank. You were one of the 300. The songs they sing are about someone else, someone you fought next to, who had a better born father. You look look at your warhorse in the stable at dusk. This is everything the sermons promised. It is also everything you have. The next campaign could end both. Level 6, the Baron of Atara. The map is pinned flat on the table with iron weights. Your territory is marked in one color. Everything surrounding it is marked in a different color. The surrounding color covers most of the map. You rule a piece of the Holy Land. You govern a castle, 3 villages, a stretch of road that connects 2 cities the whole kingdom depends on. You hear disputes in your hall every week. 2 farmers arguing a boundary, a widow seeking confirmation of her land grant, a merchant claiming extortion. You decide everything. Your word is law within these walls, and the walls extend as far as your garrison can reach, which is not as far as you would like. Your obligation to the king is absolute and measurable. A specific number of knights funded, armed, ready. If you fail that number when the royal banner is raised, it is not an administrative matter. The word for it is treason. You send gifts to the emir in the valley to the east. Not because you respect him, but because the alternative is a raid you cannot afford to repel right now. Your scouts have been reporting on Saladin's consolidation of power for 2 years. You pass the report to Jerusalem. The king does not want to discuss it. Your children play in the courtyard below your window. Edessa fell in 1144, and no one ever took it back. You don't say that out loud. Level 7, the Grandmaster. Every man in the room took a vow of obedience to you specifically. That is the room you are standing in. Letters cover the table, from the Pope in Rome, from the King of France, from your castle commanders stretched across the Latin East. You govern through correspondence. You are the last signature on every decision the order makes. The Templars do not answer to the King of Jerusalem. This is not a courtesy. It is a legal fact, established by papal bull, documented and enforced. You answer to Rome. When the king needs something from your knights, he asks. You decide whether to give it. You have declined before. The king remembered. Your order invented the letter of credit. A pilgrim deposits money in Paris and receives a coded document. He presents it in Jerusalem and withdraws the equivalent. No coins cross the sea. No coins can be stolen on the road. You manage a financial network that runs from England to the Levant, and it generates more power than any castle. At the Battle of the Horns of Hattin, a Grandmaster will order a cavalry charge against Saladin's full army, against the explicit counsel of the king because he has the authority to and no one can legally stop him. 7,000 Crusaders will be taken prisoner. The true cross will be captured. The kingdom will not recover. There is no one to tell you when you are wrong. That is not a reward. That is the trap. Level 8, the King of Jerusalem. You do not wear a crown in this city. The crown of Jerusalem sits on the altar of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. No king places it on his own head here, not in the city where Christ wore thorns. This is the first thing they tell you when you take the throne, and it tells you everything about what this throne actually is. Every baron in your kingdom has the legal right to appear before you and contest your decisions. The High Court of Jerusalem is not ceremony. Your barons can refuse military service if they believe you have violated the feudal compact. You rule by consent. In practice, you rule by negotiation, persuasion, and the careful management of men who each believe they could do your job better. The kingdom is a coastal strip, surrounded on 3 sides by a unified Islamic world that is finished being divided. You write to the King of France. You write to the King of England. They are at war with each other. Your letters sit on tables in Paris and London, while Saladin moves. Baldwin IV ruled this kingdom with a body that was destroying itself from the inside. Leprosy starting in his right hand, spreading across years. He counted out in campaigns, and treaties, and desperate holds. He was 22 when he took the throne. He won battles that should have been lost through force of will alone. He had no heir he could trust. He knew exactly how it would end, and he did not stop. Jerusalem falls on the 2nd of October, 1187. You negotiated the surrender terms personally. Saladin accepted. Tens of thousands of Christians are ransomed and released rather than enslaved, and that is the best outcome that was available, and you know it, and it doesn't help. You ride out through the gate with what remains of your court. Behind you is the holiest city in Christendom, the reason for every level that came before this one, the thing the pilgrim with the fading cross on his shoulder was walking toward. You do not look back. There's nothing in the theology, nothing in the feudal compact, nothing in the papal bull that tells you what a king of Jerusalem is when Jerusalem is gone. You carry the title. You carry the claim. You will carry it until you die, and someone else will carry it after you, and the kingdom will exist on parchment for another century, a ghost state passed between heirs who have never seen the city. You chose this life. The cross chose you first.